A couple of months ago, I got a question from a guy named Sean on my Facebook page, and a bunch of other people chimed in with, yeah, what Sean said. So here's Sean's question and my best shot at a response.
I'm photographer David duChemin, and this is Vision is Better, a sometimes weekly podcast about the craft and art of photography. Welcome here.
Remember, this is just the way I do things, and we all do things in different ways for different reasons and with entirely different skill sets. So in the hopes that my response might be helpful to more than just Sean, here is what Sean said. What are your thoughts on being demanding or critical of your own work while also picking the images you love best? This is a question about curating and editing your work. I assume the photographs that move you personally are what you want to share with others. Sometimes I have a competent image, exposure, focus, composition, rules, etc., that I don't love, but others do. And sometimes the images I'm most excited about fall flat when others view them. How do you employ your emotions when editing to help find moving images without being blinded by personal preference? So, Sean, the short answer is I don't. On some level, I am always blinded by personal preference, though I prefer to think of it as being guided by those preferences and not blinded. Ultimately, it comes down to this. If I made a photograph that I don't love and others go nuts over it, it's of no value to me, none at all. I cannot imagine what good it would do any artist in the world to have work out there towards which we feel, as the artist, indifferent, or worse, that others absolutely love and we still feel indifferent. That's a prison. So when I edit, and I edit all my projects several times because we all have bad days, we all have blind spots, I edit based on my personal preferences, not trying to avoid them. End of story. All right, it's not really the end of the story. And this is the longer answer. I've been photographing for over 30 years now, and with that comes a certain level of maturity and growth, at least where my tastes are concerned. I still act like a child and make fart noises the rest of the time. Those 30 years studying my craft and the work of other photographers have helped me understand why I love what I love, and those tastes have changed or evolved over the years. It is so important that artists and craftsmen possess the humility to learn and grow, to explore their blind spots, and to be open even to pursue the changing and maturation of their tastes. It's important to get the feedback of others and to be open to alternative perspectives. Not to convince you that one image is better than the other, but to educate, to train your tastes, to open you to seeing new possibilities. Ultimately, your tastes are tied to your vision. They're part of what makes your work a reflection of you. So your tastes or preferences are important, and at least for the way I choose to practice my craft, they are one of the most important parts of how I edit my work. Part of being an artist is making choices and owning those choices. That's part of the risk that we all embrace. To not embrace that risk is to play it safe and to hedge our bets, and that only leads to homogeny and mediocrity. However, not everyone is great at knowing what they love and what they don't. For me, it's a very binary process. I either love it or I don't. For others, they love it all, and for others still, they hate it all. If you're one of those, you're probably paralyzed when it comes to choosing your images, and it might help you tremendously to find someone to help you, to give you an outside perspective. Not people on the internet, however. Find another photographer to look through your work and pick the images they love. But don't stop there. Ask them to explain why. Why do they love this one over that one? What within the image makes them respond the way they do? And if they just kind of shrug and say, oh, I don't know, I just kind of like it, it's time to find someone else to help you with that. Tastes and preferences can be trained, and knowing why people react to one image and not to another can be really helpful in training those tastes. And on those occasions when they choose an image and you think, wait, what? Why did you choose this one and not that one? You've probably just uncovered your own preference for this one and not that one. It was there all along, but it was waiting for you to recognize it and have the courage to say something. Kind of wonder how often when we say, I don't know which one to choose or which one is better. What we really mean is I don't know which one others are going to think is better. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut, but you also have to be willing to let other voices train that instinct along the way. Okay, two more things. For some of us, we have no constraints when we edit. Our editing sessions are an exercise in just finding all the images that don't suck. And that's a terrible way to edit. It's basically pulling out all the total crap until you get to the stuff that's kind of less crappy or just on the upper edge of mediocrity, instead of really focusing on your best work, instead of focusing on the images that you need for one body of work. Who needs 200 images from an afternoon out with the camera? Wouldn't it be easier if you just looked for your best 12, your best 3 images instead of trying to find all of the ones that don't suck? Wouldn't that force you to be more ruthless with your editing? If there's one skill you need in editing, it is ruthlessness. The more willing you are to accept the images that merely do not suck, the more the standard of your work goes down. So pick a number, 2, 6, 12, 24, then find the absolute best 2 or 6, 12 or 24. Edit them down until it hurts a little. Editing should hurt a little. That's when you know you're getting to the best stuff and shuffling off the sketch images instead of accepting them as final work. Finally, I think it might be helpful to understand that editing your work doesn't need to be an instant thing. It shouldn't be instant. It's guided by a lot of different things, not the least of which is what other criteria are important in making this selection or this edit. One image chosen to work on its own is not the same as the image you might choose to be part of a series or a magazine cover or a monograph of 100 images that explore a particular theme. Why you are editing remains important. So take your time on selections. And if you get to the point where you need to choose 12 and you've got 20, then print them out and pin them on your wall and live with them for a couple of days. Give them time. If you're hitting the same note twice with 2 particular images, then put a red X through one of them and do what I do when you have a decision to make and you can't decide and you flip a coin. If you get heads and you're disappointed by the results, you know which one you wanted to pick. So if you put a red X through it and then you go, that was the best one, well, now you know. But it ultimately comes down to choosing, all right? See which ones have staying power and which ones do not. We live and work in this weird time when it feels like we need to go from shooting to editing to post it on Instagram to liked and then forgotten in like 60 minutes. We get that dopamine hit and then we go looking for the next one. How much stronger would our work and our editing and our post-production be if we were more thoughtful, looked for only the best work, and were willing to trust our tastes and our gut? Isn't that what we want? Images that we love with our guts, images we have a visceral, non-apologetic reaction to instead of just meh, right? Don't we want images we look at and think, I just fucking love this photograph, not, I don't know, do I like it or don't I? Because if we're ever going to have a chance at others feeling the same thing in a meaningful way, if they're going to really love it, it's got to begin with you. Anyway, that's how I do it. I know it's not for everyone. We all do things differently, and with time you'll find your own way, as I did mine. But I think being more ruthless, taking your time and trusting your instincts, while also allowing those instincts to grow, to mature and change, is important. And if you can, find someone to work with on this. Help each other through the blind spots. I recently took some current work to see friends that are both talented National Geographic photographers, and I asked them to do an edit for me right there. There was a lot of alcohol involved, and I asked them to put my work into 2 piles, the stuff that moved them and the stuff that was just okay. And I came out of that time together with really good feedback. And I learned something about the way that I react to my images and the way that others react to my images. And some of the images that they chose confirmed my suspicions or my tastes. And some of the comments gave me new insight and ideas. And occasionally they would toss out an image that I still love. And my own internal reaction helped me become aware of my preferences and prejudices. Just because they don't love it doesn't mean it's not a great image. And again, asking why is really clarifying. Editing, like making photographs in the first place, is a personal and deeply human activity. Don't expect it to be easy, clean, or fast, or to come with any simple answers to which everyone agrees. If everyone agrees, it's probably mediocre. Have the courage to make your selections, to hone your ability to choose based on a gut reaction, and to be open to feedback from others. And have the courage to be wrong and to go back. All right, that's it for me. If you've got questions or something to add, leave it in the comments. Hit the like button or subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you next time. Remember, gear is good, but vision's better, even in editing. Take care.